To proceed, there are two important constitutional provisions which must be raised pertaining to public utilities. That includes the NGCP. One is the ownership, that the same must be 60% Filipino-owned and 40% may be allowed to be foreign-owned. May I ask the NGCP, did you comply with this constitutional provision?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And the second important constitutional provision, Mr. Chair, is that the executive and managerial officers should be Filipino citizens. NGCP, did you comply with this constitutional provision? Yes or no?
Yes, Your Honor.
Having said that, Mr. Chair, I wish to raise the information I gathered from the reports and various documents. First, based on the 2024 GIS of the NGCP, the chairman of the same is a certain Guang Chao, a Chinese national. Does the NGCP confirm this?
Please reply.
Your Honor, we'll have to refer to our GIS for that.
Yes, where's the GIS? You have a copy.
The name Zhu Guangchao, described as Chinese, is designated as chairman in the 2024 General Information Sheet of the NGCP. Having said so, because the same is indicated in your document, do you maintain your position that the executive and managerial officers are Filipino citizens?
Please reply, NGCP.
Your Honor, based on our general information sheet,
Please speak closer to the microphone. Speak louder.
Mr. Chair, with all due respect, but I believe that the question is answerable by a yes or no only.
Yes or no? Attorney San Diego, ang pagbabasihan lang po GIS, ha? Yes or no?
the chairman of our board is Mr. Su Guancho.
Okay, Chinese. Okay. Yes, yes. The answer is
Are you saying that you complied with the constitutional provision that the executive and managing officers should be Filipino citizens only, considering that your chairman is a Chinese citizen?
Yes, Your Honor, our executive and managers are all Filipino.
How do you consider a chairman of NGCP? Is it not a managerial or executive position?
Your Honor, Mr. Suagwanco is a chairman of the board of the directors, but our executive officials and officers are all Filipino.
We take note of your answer, but this representation sadly believes otherwise. For this alone, it is my humble submission that the NGCP violated this constitutional provision. Second, Mr. Chair, there are other executives which were disclosed in the records of the NGCP. Liu Zhaoyang, described as Assistant Chief Technical Officer. Liu Xin-Juan, described as Chairman of Board Audit Committee. These two officers are responsible for hiring employees and signing contracts with them. Having said so, Mr. Chair, may we hear from the NGCP, are you still maintaining your position that executive and managerial officers are Filipino citizens? Liu Zhaoyang and Liu Xinju are both described as Chinese citizens.
Your Honor, we maintain that all our executives and officers are all Filipino. But Your Honor, if I may, I have been looking at our GIS, but the mentioned names were not here in the 2022 GIS of NGCP.
In the what?
GIS of NGCP.
Mr. Chair,
What-
we will be flashing some documents on the later part of the interpellation showing these names, including the others who participated in the operation, most especially the technical aspect of the NGCP. Another significant name that I came across with is Wen Bo, Chief Technical Officer. And he is described as well as a Chinese citizen, Mr. Chair. And with that, I wish to manifest, without asking anymore the NGCP, that the operation is participated not only by Filipino citizens. Proceeding, Mr. Chair, I want to know more about this NGCP, so I wish to ask the NGCP, sino-sino po ba ang mga miyembro at ibang officers ng NGCP based on your GIS? May we request the Secretariat to please flash the 2024 GIS. NGCP, please. Of course, the document confirms Zhu Guangchao as the chairman of NGCP. And in addition to this Chinese national, we have also number 8, Yao Yusheng, Wang Lijin, Liu Xinhua. Although their positions are not indicated in this GIS. Proceeding to our GIS on stock holdings, Mr. Chair. Kindly flash the next slide. The GIS on stock ownership. There. There is one corporation here, Monte Oro Grid, which owns 27.23% of its shareholdings. Another corporation, Kalaka High Power Corporation, which is 27.23%. Third corporation is State Grid International Development Limited. That is 36.30%. Plus the 4 Chinese individuals who owns 1% each of its stock holdings. From the face of this general information sheet, Mr. Chair, it appears indeed that the Chinese ownership is 40%. However, with all due respect to our esteemed colleagues, I wish to agree to the honorable members who insisted on requesting for the GIS of the corporations who own shareholdings as well, in order to find out the extent of Filipino ownership, as it might affect as well the requisite ownership as imposed by the Philippine Constitution and that is to be specific, 60% Filipino-owned and 40% foreign-owned as may be allowed. And therefore, let this representation reiterate the earlier motion to SESTECUM for the submission of the GIS of Monte Oro, Calaca High Power, and if possible, the State Grid International Development. That is, if our intention indeed is to find out if there is full compliance with the requirement of the Philippine Constitution. Another corporation which GIS we want to request as earlier requested is the Synergy Grid Development Philippines, which owns 9.24% of the stock holdings of NGCP, Mr. Chair.